everyone, Dana here again, this week with Tuesday tips on how to submit proposals to speak and present at conferences. This has been a hot topic on social media. I've been in a few conversations here and there, so I thought I'd put them all together in a handful of tips that have worked for me, that I've learned the hard way over the last several years of speaking quite often at national, regional, global conferences. So the main thing is, have you been to this conference? Is this your audience? Are you the person to be a real expert in the topic for who you are talking to at this conference? Do a little bit of homework. It'll really pay off. If you haven't attended this conference, it feels like it's a little bit outside your sphere of influence, reach out to a colleague who has been involved. Look up past speakers, look up past topics, and just make sure you're the right fit. Everyone who is working these events, especially now in our online world, they're working so hard. It is so much work to do any event production, and very often the people in the volunteer engagement sector are doing this on top of a full-time job with an agency. So we want to be respectful of their time and not waste your time just cutting and pasting and spamming a bunch of people and just, throwing spaghetti on the wall and seeing what sticks. We want to be very precise and make sure that as we're applying to conferences, your name and your reputation is in high standing, that people know you're not just spamming them and wasting their time. Now, some very specific tips around crafting your proposal are: be very careful to read every single fine print detail about the number of word counts, the way they want the presentation formatted, the way the submittal is formatted, the deadlines to it. Have somebody who is completely disconnected from the field read your proposal, proofread it. Have a couple of friends proofread it. One tiny little typo or error can, just like on a resume or applying for a job, can get you thrown into the bin right away. Some silly little mistake can just absolutely destroy your chances of even being reviewed or accepted. The other point is, make sure that your voice and your subject matter is really interesting and unique, or a fresh perspective, and that you are genuinely knowledgeable about the subject matter. If you try to chase only what's trendy and just kind of add your voice to it, but you haven't already been doing work in that area, everyone sees through that. We know who the experts are in our sector and their little subgenres of conservation or human services or disaster preparedness. So, kind of stay in your lane and make sure that you're really the qualified voice to talk about the subject matter. Again, it helps just reach out to colleagues who who might be organizing it or have spoken there before. Get any insights you can. Also, interested is interesting. Passion is contagious. The online world and the way that we have to often submit the format of webinars and kind of slide decks and things, that's by nature not the most engaging way of teaching people or training people or conveying ideas. So we have to kind of work against the medium that we're usually using to be more dynamic, more concise, more interesting. So if you can come up with 3 learning objectives, core ideas, elevator pitch sentences that really get your point across, then you'll be able to adapt your material and your knowledge to any format. I started with my 3 C's of happy volunteers years and years ago at Points of Light in Detroit with a 10-minute TED Talk. And that was interesting enough and compelling enough in the simplest form of those ideas to expand into keynotes and webinars and larger presentations. And now that's one of my most popular training sessions that I do, whether it's for a whole weekend or for half an hour on a webinar. So your deep knowledge of the subject is going to come in handy when you can be really clear and precise with it. Now, the other thing is, if we're doing slides and PowerPoints, make sure you have beautiful, professional level graphics. No grabbing stuff off the internet for free. Again, invest a little bit of time and money. If you don't have your own pictures of yourself or your subject matter or your volunteers or your subject topics that you're talking about, then invest in some really high quality stock photos or professional photos or illustrative graphics. ask around for artist friends. There's a lot of really talented people with not enough to do right now in the visual arts and the performing arts, and your friends can probably help you with their talent, or your volunteers can probably help with their talent. Now, my final tip for submitting proposals is to be really easy and fun to work with, not only as an expert, but every interaction that you have with the organizers, with people that are helping you hit your deadlines, be kind to them, thank them at every opportunity. Event organizing can feel like a really overwhelming, thankless job. So if the organizers know that, hey, we gave you a chance, you did an awesome presentation, we loved working with you, the audience loved it, we got great feedback, fantastic. Use all of that feedback to bolster your reputation as a presenter, to bolster your brand, use your network. And one little bonus tip is to really take any feedback you get from that presentation and don't take it personally. It is just data and information to make you a better presenter. So if 99 people say they loved your webinar and one person has a really specific critique of it, listen to that critique, see if it feels reasonable, see if it's something you can change and adjust, and just move on. Don't stew, don't be resentful. It's never the audience's fault if they're not connecting with the material. So I hope that you have a lot of fun with these Tuesday tips. And as always, you can always find me at danalitwin.com and reach out to me personally if you want some help with your agency, with some training, or even some pointers on public speaking and putting presentations together. I'm always here for you. The community of leaders and volunteers is here for you, and we'll see you next time.